Handicapper Steve here, handicapping the racing from Deauville Racecourse here on Sunday. It is the 13th of August, 2023. Gonna look at the featured fifth race from Deauville, but before I get on to that, remember to please follow me on Twitter at Horse Racing Kid 5 for more selections for race courses around the world, and I mean it, around the world. Let's look at the featured fifth race, which is the PRIX JACQUES Le Marois Stakes. It's a Group 1 event going for a purse of just over $1 million here. Great purse money. Race for 3-year-olds and upwards. Field 11 horses going 1,600 meters or a mile on the turf course. My top selection here, I love the one horse Aravan as a top selection. I'm going to go 1-4 in your forecast exacta. 1-4 forecast exacta. Top selection of one horse Aravan is 4 called by DeBowie here. Jean-Claude Rouget trains one. Christophe Simeon connects with this one and the Aga Khan to get them out. The horse's most recent outing came the 29th of May at Longchamp, a mile and 1/8 in the Group 1 Prix d'Espagne, and he finished 5th by a head that day. He just couldn't keep up late. I do think the extra furlong got to him. He does his better running style to a mile. Back to a mile here today, back to Deauville, where he's run very well in the past, nearly won this race last year. I think he could find that hidden form to win this one today. His form in 2023 hasn't been so great. Two back in the Prix de Mouget at Saint-Cloud over the mile on the 1st of May. He finished 3rd by 3.5 lengths. He did need the race that day. He was just a little bit flat, never really got going. And then the Prix Daniel Wildenstein at Longchamp over the mile on the 1st of October. Stepping down in class, he won by 1.5 lengths that day. Everybody and his mother knew who he was going to win that day, and he won quite nicely. He had the extra turn of foot to win that day. He ran in this one last year over the mile on the 14th of August, and he finished 3rd by a neck in an all-out finish. And Spiral, who won that day, really ran a terrific race. Went on to actually be her last victory, but has been running decently in some spots. Light Infantry, who I've actually second on the ticket, came back to run some decent races. Hasn't won since the place in this one last year, but it ran a terrific race. This horse ran great in the Wildenstein, so he got beat by great horses on the day that day. And the Paul Boussac at Chantilly 1 mile last June, he won by a nose that day. He was all out, and he had the stamina to win that day, and he won the conditions race off the bench at Saint-Cloud. Coming here today, he's definitely on the up and up. He might need the last 2 races down in trip. Back to a mile, drawn very well at 10-1. I think he's a great price. I think the 4-horse Light Infantry for Jamie Spencer, David Simcock get the job done. 4-year colt by Fast Company. Be kind of cool for Jamie Spencer coming from riding on Saturday afternoon down in Virginia at Colonial Downs and the Arlington Million to go over to Deauville to ride this one and get a victory with this one, because I think his horse has a strong chance. Most recently in the Group 1 Queen Anne at Royal Ascot over the mile, she finished 3rd by 2 3/4 lengths that day. He needed something more, but he didn't run half bad. He had a decent traveling trip, but Triple Time had the jump on him. Prior to that, in the Group 1 Prix d'Espagne at Longchamp over the mile on the 8th, he finished 2nd by a nose. Again, he was on the drive and excelling. He had a great turn of foot. He just missed. Again, not the world's worst race for him there. And the Lockage at Newbury, he wasn't catching Modern Games, who freaked that day. This horse finished 7th by 3.5 lengths. He just never really showed up there. And then about 365 mile Newmarket over the mile, he finished 3rd by 3 lengths. He desperately needed the race that day. He just kind of stalked. The others got away from him late. He was just flat. Like I said, needed the race there. And then last year's PRIX JACQUES Le Marois, his final start of 2022, he finished 2nd by 3/4 length that day. 2nd by a neck that day. And Spiral had the jump on him, but this horse was traveling decently and had had the will to catch in Spiral, but just ran out of that will late. But he ran terrifically. Coming here off some decent runs against some very tough horses. Not the world's, coming here, it's a tough Group 1, but he's been facing some tough horses, and I think he can keep up with them. I think he get a Group 1 victory here at 12-1. He's interesting. I'm going to use him on the ticket in this very wide open event. But to recap my selection for the 5th from Deauville, it's the Group 1 PRIX JACQUES Le Marois. Going to take the 1-horse Ervan. Give kudos to the 4-horse Life Infantry. 1-4 forecast exacta. Use them both in the multi-race. So good luck to all, and please follow me on Twitter at Horse Racing Kid 5. Good luck, everybody.